when we look at things on the canal, kind of gets revealed as I talk more about it, and we just kind of get engaged in the blending of the past and the present in what we're looking at. So these boats again are all people's homes. Because the canal happens to be so wide here, from what used to happen here, they can get more boats in, and they are side by side, which means they pay less for their residential mooring. They pay according to the width of the boat instead of the length of the boat, so that makes it a bit cheaper. The green boat, on the other hand, is occupying over 70 foot of the pathway, but the green boat here is providing a service. It's keeping this already wide part of the canal completely clear all the time, a lovely big space that we can depend on to be able to turn around. That's called a winding hole, that's on purpose. But the reason there's a wide space here is to do with the wall at the back of the boats, because this was a big space for a power station that used to burn coal delivered in boats like the one you're sitting in. So they were burning coal up until the 1960s here in London. This power station has been built since they decommissioned the old power station. So it's now more like a canal boat village. If you look at the back wall, I wonder if you can see the white ring hanging on the wooden frame at the back there, where the bunting is. You see the arch-shaped mark in that wall? That is what used to be a tunnel. So it's a bricked up tunnel. So the boats would have access into the inside of not only the power station, as was the case here, but industrial buildings, which would have been the first buildings that you would see alongside the canal. Hand side of all of that scenery was a brick wall where there is now a housing estate. There used to be a big coal yard on the right hand side. Way before the roads and the motor cars, the railways started to change not only industry and transport. You may have heard of Regent's Park. I wonder if you remember that this is the Regent's Canal. We have development in London before the railway, hand-made. Canal, 6 foot deep, largely lined with clay to keep them watertight. Something chucked off to be there. The columns that we've just seen are the original columns. The reason we all refer to it as Blow-Up Bridge, would you believe there was an explosion back there? So that might have been a bit scary. That's nothing compared to the reason why we call it Blow-Up Bridge. Imagine a boat, a bit like Jason's, possibly wider, carrying barrels of gunpowder, supposed to be delivered to a quarry to the left. So we're going to turn left. It'll take you about 15 minutes to get to the zoo from Canal. Anyone heard of Cumberland Basin before they turn left again? This is, none of it's famous London, is it? It's a real heron waiting for them to throw something from the kitchen window. Maybe a couple of you want to look back where we've come from. Look at what central London looks like on a Sunday afternoon at the beginning of May. It expands London, at the same time it kind of shrinks it as well. If you think before the railways, we're not in Camden for a while yet. This is now Camden. And the buildings on the right, this is quite hard to explain because it's just so attractive to look at. The canal was not a desirable place to live. When they first built this street, it was mostly lodgings for workers, aspiring professionals, builders, painters, possibly teachers. Teachers couldn't afford that now. The Baker Street, these date back to 1838. 1838. Used to be a place where Gilbey's bottled the gin to get filled with Camden's rubbish, and that was taken away on the canal. So that would be part of the commentary to understand what this was all operated for. That's now going to be a hotel. I don't think they want it to be a place of collecting rubbish anymore, so they're going to send the rubbish by road, which is a shame, I think. The Iron Bridge was for horses to change sides on the canal. Now for tourists to change sides on the canal. I don't suppose the tourists are interested